I'm Leon Furze. I'm a PhD candidate from Deakin University in Australia and an author and consultant working with generative artificial intelligence in education. And I'm going to share with you today a little about my work with Gen AI and assessment in K-12 and higher education. So this is our AI assessment scale, and myself, Dr. Mike Perkins, Dr. Jasper Rowe, and Associate Professor Jason McVaugh at British University Vietnam developed this in 2023 to give universities and K-12 organizations a way to avoid just doing a binary ban or allow all use of generative artificial intelligence. It accounts for the fact that these things are multimodal and they work across a range of disciplines. So I'm going to talk through a few examples, but I'll just go over the scale in brief first. The scale runs from no AI to full AI. And the way that it works is really it's a conversation starter with students and a way of addressing with the students how AI can or can't or should or shouldn't be used in a given assessment task. So the QR codes there will take you to the two published papers on this, but just in brief, Level 1 says no AI and artificial intelligence must not be used at any point during the assessment. That's still perfectly valid for a lot of assessment tasks, particularly where they're practical or where the students are relying solely on their own knowledge, understanding, and skills. Level 2 says we can use artificial intelligence for idea generation, structural work, maybe augmenting some brainstorming or using technologies such as voice memo and transcription to actually take verbal notes and organize things that way. But the final submission needs to have no artificial intelligence. Level 3 says that AI can be used in an editorial capacity, maybe for structural edits, language edits, so technologies like Grammarly and so on. Level 4, AI task completion and human evaluation is a side-by-side where the AI is doing quite a bit of work, but so is the human. And importantly, the human student is being very critical with the AI's output. And at level 5, we say that AI can be used in any capacity, whatever tools are available to the students. And level 5, realistically, is how many students will be interacting with these technologies once they're outside of the education context. So I'm going to go through a few examples at each level of the AI assessment scale, style assessments in a range of disciplines. But because you've got access to these slides and additional materials, I'd encourage you to go through these at a little bit of a slower pace and to contextualize them with whatever your subject area is. Level 1's fairly self-explanatory. This is where we're just using no AI. So this is very much these traditional assessment tasks. In the arts, we might be using physical media. In music, we're performing a piece of music live, and we're using analog instruments. In history, perhaps we're writing essays, but we're doing it, again, by hand, or relying on kind of old-fashioned methods, I guess. And we've been teaching without AI for a lot longer than we've been teaching with AI. All of these methods are perfectly fine. We don't have to do no AI tasks under examination conditions. We can do group work, discussion, we can have debates. We just do it without access to devices or technology. At level 2, there are various ways that you can incorporate AI into the brainstorming process. So these are just a few examples. We might generate conversation topics in languages, but then the students conduct the actual conversations. In the arts, we might use AI to generate visual inspirations, but then the students create the final pieces. In music, we might use music generative AI technologies such as Stable Audio, Udio, Suno to create sound files and use them as inspiration. And in drama, we might create the script, but the students do the performance. So the key part for level 2 activities is whilst AI can be used in the initial stages, the final product, performance, or assessment task is down to the students. In level 3, we allow some use for editorial reasons. So that could be just simple spelling, punctuation, and grammar, or it could be things like checking the clarity and organization of arguments, checking the logic. Level 3, I would encourage students to be using the tools for self-assessment rather than the educator assessing student work with AI tools. I think that educators using AI to assess students' work is unnecessary. It's definitely something that the students could be doing themselves so that when they finally submit the piece, it's as polished and final as they would like it to be, and then the teacher can focus more on those kind of qualitative values-based judgments. Level 4 is where the use starts to get a little bit more complex. So we might generate entire draft arguments solely for the purpose of critiquing and interrogating what the AI is coming out with. Or in the sciences, we might use generative AI as a data analyst to help analyze and visualize data that the students have collected themselves. Or if we flip that around, we could also use AI to generate mock data sets for the purpose of instructing students on how to do data analysis. We can generate side-by-side comparisons of AI and real campaigns in a subject like politics, economics, business. Or we could generate AI artworks and then critique them, look at the aesthetic, cultural, technical aspects, maybe any evidence of bias in these technologies. So level 4, really, the purpose is to compare, contrast, critique the output of AI. And then finally, at level 5, we allow the students to use AI in whatever way they choose and with access to whatever platforms they have available to them. So students might use a tool like GitHub Copilot in computer science to develop and debug software from scratch. We might write entire texts using generative AI in a literature-based subject with the purpose of critiquing the AI output in the same way we would critique a human-written text. We might use AI tools extensively in film and media studies, such as using Adobe Premiere Pro, which has a lot of AI built into it and even more on the way soon. And we might use, in subjects like graphic design, we might use image generation and other technologies to create an entire project from start to finish. So what I would encourage you to do is to look at your existing assessment tasks, if you have those, or if you're a pre-service teacher and you're beginning to develop assessment tasks and units, and think about where your assessments would logically sit on that scale. What are the skills you're trying to assess? Does it matter if we offload some of that onto AI, or are there skills which absolutely need to be retained and demonstrated by the student first of all, and then place that assessment somewhere on that scale? And I've been sharing a lot of examples. My colleagues, Mike and Jasper, have shared a lot of examples, and we'll link to a few of those examples in the additional materials. So in this video, we've looked at the significance of generative artificial intelligence in the context of assessments and looked at what modern Gen AI platforms like GPT-4o can actually do across a range of disciplines. We know that these technologies are really capable. We know that they are only developing faster and faster, and that they will impact every subject discipline. So we need to update our assessment practices. And I've talked you through the AI assessment scale and how we think you can use that 5-point scale to help scaffold appropriate use of AI. Thank you very much.